My name is Christina Blanch, and I have the absolute honor of introducing you to not only a Disney princess, but a Disney legend. Here is the amazing Jodi Benson.
Thank you, dear. Thank you, Christy. Christy and I worked together in Detroit. Is that what we figured out? It was Detroit. How's everybody doing today? Are you great? Wonderful. I turned my phone off so my kids can't reach me right now. I'm like, Mama's working. It's all good. Well, this is very fun to be here in Baltimore. I've been in Baltimore many times, but not with your convention. So, done theater shows, and I think I sang with the symphony here years ago. I feel like I can't see you. I'm going to turn sideways here so I can see you better. But anyways, it's wonderful to be here at the con. So thanks for coming to hang out with us today. Really appreciate it.
Well, we are so happy you are here. You are just a joy.
Thank you.
So let's talk just a little bit about you, and then we'll take some audience questions.
Great.
And when you do ask the question, we'll repeat it so that everybody can hear, because there's not a microphone today.
Oh,
so,
gotcha.
We all know Ariel. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm guessing everybody knows. She's a Little Mermaid.
Everybody knows her and everybody loves her. That's the hope, right?
Yeah. But you've been in so many other things. Toy Story, which was one of my kids' favorites growing up.
Thank you.
You're a Barbie.
Yes.
You are Tony nominated. You were in Enchanted. You've been in just everything. And you're a Disney legend.
Crazy. Oh, that's crazy. He says Thumbelina.
Oh, Thumbelina. Oh, yeah.
Thumbelina.
It was just too long to write everything down. I got my hand cramped. So what was it like? So Little Mermaid, did you have any idea that when you were recording Little Mermaid that it was going to be years and years and years and years? And
right.
It just touches people's hearts.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Through the ages.
Yes, I absolutely had no idea whatsoever. When we started working on The Little Mermaid, I think I was hired in 1986 and started in the studio in 1987, flying back and forth between New York and LA, and really had no idea that this film was going to take off the way that it did. I think as a cast, we were not aware of the fact that the animation studio was, all of the wonderful animators and everybody in the animation team was removed from the lot, and they were placing them on Flower Street in Glendale at a sort of like temporary office building. So they were moved off the lot. There was just a lot of big transitions going on at the time with the animation department. So we did not, as a cast, realize the pressure and the stress that was placed on our particular film, that this was going to be a really big opportunity for the studio to move forward or cause a different type of a transition. And so we were unaware of that. But Howard Ashman just brought the Broadway community together, and he is the one, single-handedly, pretty much, that changed the face of animation forever, because he blended the Broadway musical with the animated feature film and combined those two worlds in such a beautiful way. And we had no idea, that our movie was going to change the whole world of animation. Back then, we were not going to be announced who the voices were, because Walt's vision when it came to animation was to focus on the character and not on the person behind the voice, and found it to be distracting, especially if it were going to be, let's say, a celebrity of some sort. So his whole plan with animation was to have it be anonymous. It would run at the end of the credits, and when you would go to the movie, if you stayed for the credits, you might be able to figure out who was who, because it wouldn't list them by character, really. It was really just listed as, here are the voices, and you kind of had to, play that game of hide and seek. And then, of course, when the VHS would come out, you could freeze frame it and try to figure out who's who. So for those of us that were doing Broadway musicals at the time, we were just going to fly back and forth and disappear. And it was just going to be this one-and-done type of job. And so when I was flying back and forth working on The Little Mermaid, my family and friends were like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm doing this animated feature film and playing the title character. It's amazing. They're like, oh, we're going to see you in the movie? And I'm like, well, no, but you're going to hear me. Oh, maybe you'll get a real job next time. So it was like, it was really not considered a great job back then in the 80s. It's what you did when your career was tanking at the end of your career. So I stopped talking about it. I stopped telling people what I was working on, and the movie started to have its test shootings and test screenings, and all of a sudden the buzz started that, wow, the critics were going crazy. So they decided to call me before the film was released in November. They called me at the end of September saying, can we send you on press tour? And I'm like, why would you want to do that? I mean, I thought we were going to just remain anonymous. And they said, well, things are turning, and we're going to send you to 22 cities in 20 days. And you're not going to be anonymous anymore. And I was like, okay, this is quite a journey. So it was really right after the film came out that we all had a sense that something very, very special was happening with our film.
That's amazing. I can't imagine not knowing the voices. I mean, like who the voices are. I'm one of those weirdos that I stay through the whole movie. It's like a respect thing.
Yeah.
So
I do too.
So getting the job, what was the process like getting the role?
Yeah, my story was kind of interesting because I was doing a Broadway musical called Smile at the time with Howard Ashman and Marvin Hamlish. And my character, one of the leading girls in the show, in the musical, they wrote a song for me called Disneyland. So I was doing the show, and we got horrible reviews from the New York Times from Frank Rich, so we knew the show was closing tragically very quickly. So at the time, Howard was already doing The Little Mermaid, and so the executives from Disney came to see the musical. They came to my dressing room afterwards. They were all very sweet. They loved the song Disneyland. It's a beautiful story song, and so they were very kind. And then, the show closed. And so Howard, I think he felt sorry for us. So there was a handful of girls that he invited to audition for Ariel, mostly just as to have something to do on the way to the unemployment office. Literally, never, ever did we think that any of us would get it, because they were really looking for true voiceover artists who had already established themselves and could sing. So I just went into the rehearsal studio, a dance rehearsal studio in New York City, with Albert Tavares, the casting associate, just he and I, with an old reel-to-reel recording device that you press play and record at the same time. Nobody knows what that is anymore. And I laid down, they had given me a cassette tape of Howard singing Part of Your World. So I was always a kid that could mimic other people, imitate other people. And so I just studied his cassette tape of the song. So I went in with the reel-to-reel and I recorded a portion of Part of Your World. I had run to the ladies' room before my audition, looked under the stalls to make sure no one was in them, and I started talking to myself in the mirror because I'd never been behind a microphone before, and tried to come up with this voice that I thought maybe a 16-year-old might sound like. And then I ran into the audition and I tried to recreate that, and that was it. And then a year went by, and I totally forgot about it. I was working, I was doing other shows and other auditions, and I was on 16th and Broadway, and I had a roll of quarters, and I had a pager, which you guys don't know what those are. And the page went off, and it said, "Call Nancy." That was my agent at the time. And so I got my quarters, went to a payphone. You don't know what that is. And put the quarter in and called, and she said, "Oh my gosh, Jodi, you got it." I'm like, "Got what?" And she's like, "You got Ariel." And I'm like, "What's an Ariel?" Like, what is that? I had no recollection of even auditioning. So it's just totally a miraculous God thing that this ever landed in my lap. And then, 35 years later, I'm sitting here with all of you today talking about it, and it's just unbelievable to me. Unbelievable to think that my life has taken this journey with this incredible character and our amazing film.
That's great. What's an Ariel? So you have done voiceover, you sing, you've done theater, you've been in movies. What is your favorite thing to do?
Honestly, I think my favorite thing to do is whatever I'm doing at the moment. I have learned through being a mom to savor the moment that I'm in right now and try not to dredge up or relive or go through the past or to think too far ahead, because you actually miss the moments that you have right now. So when people come to my table, I really try to just focus on that one person standing in front of me and spending that minute or two or three with them, living in that moment and being very present at that moment. Because if my mind starts to wander to the mistake I made yesterday, or how am I going to get from Baltimore back to Disney in time for work, then I have negated all that precious time with them. And I think when people come up to the table, the hope and the expectation is that I'm going to fill those expectations that they have of meeting me or telling me their story about how they're connected to Ariel and how they're connected to our film. And I just don't want to lose that opportunity with them. So I kind of feel like, I know I just went off on a tangent, but it's something that I'm working on right now to just really try to be most present, so that when I'm working, my favorite thing to do is to really make the most of that moment, whether I'm on stage, off stage, in the studio, writing, memorizing lyrics, memorizing a script, whatever it might be. I want to do it with excellence, and I want to do it in the present, So that's my long answer.
That's a great answer. So when you got the news that you were going to be named a Disney legend, what was that feeling?
I feel like all of my stories are so funny and kind of bizarre because they don't make any sense. So, it's like, how did you get Ariel? And that story, because my Broadway show closed. And had the show been a success, mind you, I wouldn't have auditioned. So if the show was a success, none of us would have auditioned from the show because Howard wouldn't have felt sorry for us. So it's kind of, it's all Howard. Okay, you just asked me another question, and I went off to stage left with that. What was your question? It was
About
good.
The Disney legend.
Oh, yes, Disney legend. Okay, so this story this is true. These are true stories. I don't make these up. So in 2011, our division of Disney Character Voices, DCV, and they actually started DCV when I came out with Mermaid. So I'm the same year that we started our division in the company. And in 2011, they were doing what we call refreshing, which means there's recasting. And sometimes we will refresh Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella. We will refresh various characters, whether the person has retired, whether the person has passed on, whether the person cannot recreate the voice anymore due to whatever type of physical difficulties or complications, or strictly just to have a fresh perspective. So we were in the season of refreshing, and I got a call from one of my bosses, Chris Montan, head of music group, and so I knew this was my refreshing call. And I had done the voice at that point for many, many years, so it's very normal to do that. Although I sound exactly still like my character, I understood. So he picks up, hits his secretary, "Please hold for Chris." I'm like, okay, here it comes. It's all good. This is good. So he gets on the phone. I say, "Sweetie, thank you so much for calling. First of all, thank you, because it's been an incredible ride, an incredible journey. I'm so grateful for all these years of Ariel. Can't thank you enough. Totally understand. So it's all good." And he's like, "What are you talking about, Jodi?" I said, "Well, we're refreshing. I mean, you're refreshing me, right?" And he's like, "Well, no, I was actually calling to see if you could come in August so we could induct you as a Disney legend." And then I dropped the phone. So I'm in my husband's office. The phone is on the floor. I can hear him going, "Jodi, Jodi." I pick up the phone. I'm like, "Chris, what? Wait a minute. A Disney legend?" And then I say this, and it's horrible that I said that. "I thought you had to be dead to get that award." I was so flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. And he's like, "No, you are all very much alive that are getting this award." So it took me a while to get my thoughts together. And honestly, I told him, I said, "You know what? I would like you to give this award to all of my bosses, because they've been at Disney a lot longer than I have, and all of them at that time, Glenn Keane and Rick Dempsey and all of these amazing people are the reason that I had a job." And so I was like, "Could I pass it on to someone else?" And he's like, "No, it doesn't really work that way." And I'm like, "Okay." So it came time on stage, and I was the last of our group to get our award, of our princess group. And I told the stage manager, she goes, you have a hard out of 25 seconds. I'm like, "That's not going to happen. I'm just going to let you know right now, that's not going to happen." And that morning I had prayed, and I had this little Post-it note, and God just brought like 50 names to my mind. And I just wrote down their first names. And that's what I said when I got out there. I was like, "I am a proud Disney cast member, but I cannot stand on this stage and get this award without acknowledging all of these people that made it even possible for me to be here today." So that was the most comfortable way for me to accept something that I truly still have bosses of mine that have not received it. And I know they will, but it just it was difficult for me to accept it before the people that I worked for were to get theirs. So I'm very honored, and it's a huge gift. Yeah.
So when did you know? We're going to ask questions, so think of you're going to ask questions, so think of some really good ones. Okay. When did you know that this is like what you wanted to do with your life?
Yeah, I started singing probably when I was 3 or 4, my mom said. And I was probably 8 at the time that I told her that I'd really like to sing, dance, and act and make a living, pay my bills. I didn't want to be famous, and I didn't want to be rich. I just wanted to do this for the rest of my life. Now, I had never seen a Broadway show. I probably hadn't seen any local community theater at the time, so I don't really know where I came up with this idea of I want to sing, dance, and act, but that has been my passion since I was 8 years old. And I can honestly say, and I'm really old, so I can say for all these years, that I have only worked in the industry doing what I absolutely love. So I feel very, very blessed.
Well, we're glad you made that decision. All right, let's have some questions.
Sure.
He has really good questions.
Awesome.
Well, I think it's kind of interesting is that you play Ariel in various different iterations, where it'd be like the original film, the directed videos, prequel and sequel, like House of Mouse, Kingdom Hearts, and more recently, of course, with Wreck-It Ralph 2. Now, I'm curious, like, how is the experience of kind of returning to the park? Has it changed? Has it changed you over the years of each different incarnation?
Great.
Or any particular memory that stick out for two particular one?
Right.
So like for example, like a few years ago, we had Tara Strong here, and we asked her what was her favorite memory as a voice actor, and she said working with you.
Yeah. Yeah, we had so much fun. So his question is basically, voicing Ariel for 35 years in all these different arenas and areas and films and games and ancillary products, how does that evolve and how does that happen? So my answer to that is that my job is to allow you to remember where you were the first time you saw the film and the first time you heard the song. So my job is to maintain the integrity of the character, the originality of the character, the loyalty towards her. I'm very protective of her. I know her better than anyone else besides my two animators, Glenn and Mark Henn and Glenn Keane. So we're very protective of her. And so for Disney, that's my job. My job is to maintain the stability of her and not really waver and change too much to the left or to the right, so that for each and every ancillary product, last week I was doing a game, and now I'm doing all of our Christmas product that I'm recording. Next week I'm recording things for the park. So every time you hear her, it's me. And my job is to make sure that it can trigger for you the memory of the original film. I mean, that's what I need to be doing for that. So when we do the original, she's 16. When we do the sequel, she's a young mom with Tara as Melody. So I had to make sure to age her up a little bit. Then when we did the next one, Ariel's Beginning, she starts to be 14. So my job is to make sure that I take those couple years off so that that's really believable. Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, but I'm in the studio all the time. She's my full-time character. I do other characters for other companies as well as ours, as my company with Disney. But Ariel is my girl. Yeah, I love her. I love her. She's an amazing character. I'll let you call people because I can't choose.
Okay. Well, to the blue. Yep.
I have those same ears. I just wore them for work on Monday and Tuesday. Yes, I love them. I don't think we have them anymore at the parks. I think we've refreshed them with some new off-white ones with pearls that I didn't buy, but I'm going to go back next week for work, and so I'm going to pick up that pair. Yeah. Barbie is, again, a very freak kind of incredible story. I didn't even audition for that. I got a call from my agent saying, Pixar is doing Toy Story 2, and they would like you to be the voice of Barbie. And I said, well, I'd be happy to come in and audition. They're like, no, you don't need to. You already got the job. And I'm like, well, how is that possible? That's weird. And they said, well, they heard Ariel, and they know Barbie lives in there somewhere. I'm like, okay. So right after Mermaid came out, this was kind of funny. So I'm at the recording studio for Toy Story 2. And I'm there with the directors and the producers, and they bring in a box of Barbie dolls. And they were all dressed, mind you, not naked ones. Which, when I grew up, half of my Barbies were naked because it was impossible to get those shoes and clothes on them. But this was a box of clothed Barbies that we ended up playing with to create her voice. So we come up with the voice, they're happy with it, I'm starting to record, and in walks the executive from Mattel. She's in a suit. She is very stern. She is not smiling. So she comes in, and they're like, this is the executive from Mattel, and she needs to have a conversation with you. I'm like, yes, ma'am. Okay. So I'm kind of stressing out there, and she says, let me just explain to you something that we at Mattel have never allowed Barbie to have a voice. And this is a very big deal. Well, mind you, Pixar had invited Mattel to have Barbie be part of the original. But they said, oh no, that's Barbie. Barbie's on her own. She is not going to be in a movie with other characters because this is the iconic Barbie. And then they saw the ticket sales. And they saw what a huge success Toy Story was. And then all of a sudden Toy Story 2 came on and Mattel was like, well, we're on board with that. So she does this whole speech and basically saying like, do you understand? And I'm like, yes, ma'am. And then I slowly raised my hand. She's like, yes. And I said, I don't mean to be disrespectful at all, but I just did your workout claymation video last year as the voice of Barbie. And she looked at me with like I had 4 eyes. I mean, she literally looked at me like and turned white. She's like, what? I said, I actually was the first voice of Barbie on a different project. So would you like that voice for this movie so that they kind of sound the same? So needless to say, nobody at Pixar knew that. I don't even have it. It's a VHS workout video. Like a Barbie claymation where she's like, hey everybody, let's work out. I mean, she's just like, so if you have it, it's hysterical. You can find it on YouTube, and I think there's a couple of stars that are dancing on it when they were kids, back in '89 or whenever that was. But yeah, so that's my journey with Barbie. Again, just like the most bizarre thing, but we had so much fun playing with these Barbie dolls every day and coming up with that. And of course, that script is not really a script. I mean, a lot of it is ad-libbed from the directors right on the spot. So all the outtakes at the end, that's all ad-libbed from the producers and the directors. And we're just having fun playing in the studio. So we had a great time.
That's great. Go back here, this silver.
My question is, when you got signed on to Wreck-It Ralph 2, what was going through your mind when you discovered that for the first time all the Disney princesses were going to be in one room? Did you ever think possible that they would pull that off?
Yeah, that's a great. He said, did you ever guess in a million years that all the Disney princesses would be together on Wreck-It Ralph? Yeah, we actually recorded separately, all of us, but we did gather together for the sneak peek at D23, and we did gather for our premiere red carpet at the El Capitan in Hollywood. We have still not gotten all of us together, ever. Not all of us. That still hasn't happened. We missed a couple at D23, and I think we didn't have 3 of us. 3 were missing from the premiere. But that was really a clever project because we had to take each one of us out of our realms of our movies, but we had to maintain the integrity of the character. It was really important. And so when you do that, that's where the comedy comes in. I mean, because of course for Ariel to talk about, what's this thing called? It's a shirt. I mean, she never had a shirt. But we had to make sure that each character could be pulled out of their world, no pun intended, but pulled out of their world, but still maintain who they are, not making fun of them or mocking them, but making them true and genuine, and that's where the humor comes from. When you've got Merida coming in and doing her whole thing, and then you've got Anna saying, she's from the other studio. because we're all like, what did she just say? But it was brilliantly written. I just think it was such a funny scene. Everything that the princesses did in that movie. But, we had to kind of stop and think about, like, this is a big leap for the guest to be able to see us all backstage in a dressing room, still being who we are, but together, was tricky. And I think there was a little bit of anxiety about how is this going to be received. So it was important that we did not mock them or make fun of ourselves, making fun of the different nuances that each one of us had. But it was a really fun project to work on. Lots of fun.
I keep seeing Maleficent's ears, and I'm like, what? Somebody's raising their hand.
That costume, my friend Maleficent, she came to my table, and I just dissected her costume, didn't I? I was like, where did you get this? And how's this? And how's that? Is that heavy on your head? And then she told me about her dress, and then she added the lace, and she added the feathers, and it was so fabulous, this costume, that she pieced and put together. It was so impressive. And I see an Ariel right next to you. Hi, Ariel. Girl, you look amazing. Do you have on a tail and everything? Come on, stand up. I want to see you. Oh my gosh, look at your hair. Come on. Come on, Hallie's going to love that. Come on, you look gorgeous. I really want to see your whole thing because it's just stunning. And how excited are we for the movie, huh? Are we excited?
Great.
You look absolutely gorgeous. And look at the purse. She's got the flounder purse. Listen, we are so excited about our live action movie. Thank you so much for standing up. And your hair is stunning. Yeah, we are beyond. Robbie and John. Robbie Marshall is the director, John DeLuca, his husband. The two of them are producers. So Robbie and I have been friends for 43 years. Wow. And I could not be more excited for what Robbie and John have created in this film. I have had many sneak peeks and listens, and so excited. Our cast is brilliant. Every single one of them. You're just going to be blown away by the visual gloriousness of this film and the interpretation of it from Robbie and John, and from this amazing cast of characters. We are really excited for May, so everybody go see it.
We are too. Okay, right here. Yes. You.
I love that when we point and then somebody goes, what? And they go, and we're like, no, you.
Being Gen X, you were my princess growing up. First of all, children have their own princesses. To that point, being there was 30 years between the princesses. Right. Once you got the job, did you consult any of the previous ones? What was the pressure like? And this was, like I said, 30 years of new princesses.
You mean as new princesses join our club? Or are you talking about Ariel? Right. Right. Yes, I see what you're saying. He's asking about our journey of our Disney princesses. When we start with Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Cinderella in 1961, I believe, 1961, 57, and then we jump all the way to Ariel. And I had no clue that I was going to be in this long line of glorious ladies, and what that was going to stand for. I was just really new to the whole experience, and we had a big jump between Sleeping Beauty and Ariel. We really did. And I think at first, there's that little bit of like, how is this going to go? She's a little bit rebellious. She kind of has some challenges with her dad at times, with her independence and her fiery spirit and her tenacity. But she's also incredibly loving and curious and joyful and independent and, living outside of the box. But it was a natural progression, and because 30 years had transitioned between those two, there's going to be a big leap. But now, since Ariel and all the way up to our newest inducted princess of Raya, we have just seen our princesses grow in leadership and independence and strength and their power, how they stand on their own. I mean, it's really a beautiful journey to watch our Disney princesses, and I'm honored to be in our club. I really am.
That's great. So the green shirt. Hi.
Oh, the night before last, the Legacy Awards at Disney World? Yeah. Yeah. Right. They are talking about, for our company, every other year, pretty much, we have what's called a Disney Legacy Awards. We have them at Walt Disney World and we have them at Disneyland. And with the pandemic, we had gotten behind a little bit, but I've been the surprise guest for the last 2 at Walt Disney World and for the last 1 at Disneyland. It's a very special award, and you receive it as a cast member when you are nominated and voted and supported by your colleagues and your coworkers and your fellow cast members. It's a huge honor. You change your tag from white to blue, so whenever you see a blue tag of a name tag at either of our parks, you know they are a Disney Legacy Award winner. They are there to dream, they are there to create, and they are there to inspire. And it's a wonderful celebration. We had close to 500 recipients night before last when I did the concert in Walt Disney World at the Fantasia Ballroom at the Contemporary near Magic Kingdom. And it's just a really special night to honor our cast members, because they are the ones that are creating the magic. So yeah, it was a really special night. One of my favorite things to get to be a part of.
So let's go over here. Yeah.
That's Melindy. She said that she knows a lot of people that have grown up looking up towards Ariel and having that special relationship. And what princess did I grow up with? And I grew up with Cinderella. Yeah. Cinderella dress and Ariel on the top. There she goes. Yeah, she's mixing them up. But I absolutely loved Cinderella. I loved her story, coming from a smaller town in Illinois and just wanting to dream big and think outside of the box. I could really relate to her, that she wanted a whole different experience than what she was having. I love the music. I love the magic. I used to watch Walt Disney's on Sunday night, The Wonderful World of Disney. And when I was first born, it was black and white. It was unbelievable to see Tinkerbell with Walt. And then when it came to color, oh my gosh, the world exploded. Just an incredible show on Sunday night that I used to look forward to. So, yeah, Cinderella, she was my girl growing up.
That's awesome. Over here.
Yeah. He's asking, do you miss watching The Wonderful World of Disney? Right.
Yes.
He was saying, do you miss watching The Wonderful World of Disney? And I miss Walt. We miss hearing his voice. I miss watching him on Sunday night, because that truly, he is Disney. I mean, he's Walt Disney, but he's also the magic of what we love about our company is all come from him. So desperately miss him so much.
The shirt right over here, the black shirt. You, look, yes.
Yeah, she was asking, besides voicing Ariel, are there other princesses? I actually, I love all the princesses. For a specific creative project for Disney, when I first started with the company, they had asked me to revoice Sleeping Beauty for a test project. So that was really fun. It's called ADR, Additional Dialogue Recording. It's where you look at the screen and the beeps come off, and they take out Mary Costa's voice and they put my voice in, me imitating Mary. It was a test for how we can do this and replace other voices as needed. So I have done Sleeping Beauty. I love Anna and Elsa. I love getting to sing that music in concerts. Yeah, I love them all. I love them all. They're great.
Let's, with the ears.
So she says, when you're in the car, what kind of music do you listen to? And here's my answer, and I know it's really strange. When I'm in the car by myself, it's silent. I enjoy the silence. I travel a lot. I'm on the road a lot, and I'm only home for a couple of days. And between my husband and my adult children and catching up with friends, I have those minutes in the car where it's silent. And that's a great time for me to get to pray and talk out loud to God. That's usually what I'm doing. But as a family, we pretty much listen to anything. And then, of course, once the holidays kick in, it's Christmas music all the time, which we love.
Okay. We have to wrap this up because we have a very special treat for you.
I know you have your questions. I tell you what, I'm going to be at my table until 6, and then I'll be at my table all day tomorrow. If you want to come up for an autograph or a video or a photo or whatever, hold on to your questions, and you can share those with me then. That would be great. Thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to
just want to say, Disney is so lucky to have an ambassador in you,
thank
because you are just
I appreciate that, Christy.
amazing.
You're so sweet. Thank you.
So here you go. You're going to love this.
So, yeah, I like to, when it comes to concert, I don't know if I'm going to stand. If I stand up, is that going to mess up the camera? No? It's okay to stand up with the camera? Is it all right? Okay. Sorry, let me fix my dress here a second. Yeah, when I do these wonderful conventions and get to, meet with all of you, I like to share our song, not necessarily because I want you to hear me sing and, I need to sing. I do it because you are the audiences that it matters to. Like, you are the reason that we all, are here, because you are our wonderful fans and wonderful guests that enjoy our films and enjoy our characters, and we really appreciate that. So I like to share some singing because it's an opportunity for all of you to have that trigger, that memory of where you were, who you were with, what you were wearing. It's a lovely, special memory for you. Okay, so I haven't had a sound check, so could I just hear the track for a second? Oh, there they are. They're over there. I just want to hear a little bit, just so I can... Okay, you can turn the track down. Can you guys hear that? Okay, great. Can we start that again? Thank you so much. There, see? You're part of my sound check. Isn't that easy? We're very professional here. Well, you guys were already in the room, so when I came over, because I was late, so anyways, yeah. So I'm just going to share. Here we go. Oh, it's not here. Acapella? Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Look at the stuff. Isn't it neat? Wouldn't you think my collection's complete? Wouldn't you think of the girl who has everything? Look at this trove, treasures untold. How many wonders can one cavern hold? Looking around here you'd think, sure, she's got everything. I've got gadgets and gizmos aplenty. I've got who's its and what's its galore. You want thingamabobs? I got 20. But who cares? No big deal. I want more. I want to be where the people are. I want to see them dancing, walking around on those, what do you call them? Feet. Flipping your fins, you don't get too far. Legs are required for jumping, dancing, strolling along. No, what's that word again? Street. Up where they walk, up where they run, up where they stay all day in the sun, wandering free. Wish I could be part of that world. What would I give if I could live out of these waters? What would I pay to spend a day warm on the sand? But yet on land, they understand that they don't reprimand their daughters. Bright young women, sick of swimming, ready to stand and ready to know what the people know. Ask them my questions and get some answers. What's your fire? Why does it? What's the word? Burn. When's it my turn? When I love to explore that shore above, out of the sea. Wish I could be part of that world. Thank you so much for having me today. I'll see you at my table. Thank you.
Hey, this is Alex Malari Jr., and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Your Emperor commands it. Thanks for watching.